So we'll start CSTR for CSTR. So yesterday we completed, let's say, PFR, multiple cases. So for CSTR, we'll do one case and rest of the things you can do it later on. So here, let's say case 1. So now, can you try to calculate tau? What you need to calculate here? Tau max and CB max. This is. So how do you write? You are doing this for liquid phase reactions only. Remember, all this analysis is for liquid phase reactions only. So I'll write performance equation of CSTR tau with respect to A, CA naught minus CA. This is, let's say, rate constant K1. This is, let's say, rate constant K2. So this is K1 into CA. So if we simplify this one, you will get CA by CA naught is equal to 1 by 1 plus K1 into tau. This is the equation that you get. Now for B also you can write tau. Tau is equal to, B is a product, no? Then CB will come first minus CB naught. Why CA naught has come first and followed by CA? Because CA is a reactant. Here B is a product. So CB minus CA naught, CB naught, divided by RB. But what is RB? CB by CB naught is equal to, what is RB is K1 CA minus K2 CB. So this is what is tau for CB. Now from this equation, tau is equal to, let's say I'll rewrite again, CB minus CB naught by K1 CB minus K1 CA minus K2 CB. CB naught is 0, no? So from this equation, if I rewrite the terms, or let's say from this equation, what do, if you multiply tau into K1 into CA minus tau into K2 into CB, which is equal to CB. So if you simply write CB by CA, what do you get is tau K1 by 1 plus K2 into tau. This is what you get. But what is CA? CA in the previous equation, you know, no? What is CA? So if you, we have already written, no, somewhere in the previous slide, CA by CA naught equal to 1 plus K1 tau. Suppose if you multiply these two, CA will cancel. Then what is CAB by CA naught is equal to tau K1 by 1 plus K1 tau 1 plus K2 tau. Clear? So what you should do now? Now you have CB as a function. CB as a function of tau. This is CB as a function of tau. Then what you should do? dCB by d tau is equal to 0. Then you will get tau max. It is a little lengthy derivation. Try to do and see what you get as tau max. So what are you getting as tau max? So somebody has replied, answer is 1 by root k1 k2. Just do this derivation. It is simple, u by v rule. 1 by root k1 k2. So I'm getting multiple answers. So this you have to, I'm not going to do the differentiations in the class. So I leave it to you and you have to do it. Because these differentiations, integrations are extremely important gate point of view. How do you do this one? Simply u by v rule. Or you can take u into v rule. What is u by v differentiation? U into dv minus v into du divided by v square. Differentiation of u by v is u into dv minus v into du divided by v square. I think this should be reverse. V into du minus u into dv. Because v is in the denominator, no? So 1 by root k1 k2. I got almost 6 replies till now. So 1 by root k1 k2. So if we compare here, d into tau k1 divided by 1 plus tau k1 into 1 plus k2 tau k1 tau k2 tau is comparison. What is p? 1 plus k1 tau 1 plus k2 tau. This is what is v. What is du is simply k1. This is what is du. This is what is du minus what is u is tau into k1. 1 plus k1 tau into 1 plus k2 tau. So what is the integration? Differentiation k1 plus k2 to k1 k2 tau. This is what is dv. This is what is u. So divided by v square, which is equal to 0. So I'm just rewriting whatever I have written. Equal to 0. K1, K1 will cancel. So if you expand this one, you will get tau max as root of 1 by K1, K2. Clear? Now, what you should do now? Cp max by Ca naught. What is Cp max by Ca naught is K1 into 1 by root of K1, K2, 1 plus K1 into K1, K2. So what do you get is root of K1 by K2 K1 by K1. So if you translate this to denominator, then what happens? 1 by root of K2 by K1, K1 by K2, 1 plus root of K2 by K1. Take this and multiply here, then what happens? Overall 1 by 1 plus root of K2 by K1 whole square. This is what you get. This type of questions are also asked in the GATE exam. It looks long here, but when you do the derivation, if you know the procedure, it doesn't take, let's say, more than 2-3 minutes. So like this, you solve the CSTR for the rest of the 2 equations. So just take 1 minute time and then we'll go to another topic in, let's say, 3rd chapter. So no need to memorize these equations, I'm telling, because in the GATE exam, he will ask in a different way. So contacting pattern, suppose if I have, let's say, A plus B gives C and A plus B gives D. This is, let's say, K1 CA square CB. This is K2 CA CB cube. Suppose if I want B as desired product. Which reactor you suggest? Which reactor you suggest? CSTR or PFR? If I want C as a product. Do you suggest CST or PFR? Desired is C. Or let's say CST or PFR will not be suitable here. You need a different type of reactors. So how do we suggest reactor selection is? You should go to, let's say, selectivity. Selectivity of C is rate of C formation divided by rate of D formation. So what is K1 Ca square by Cb divided by K2 Ca Cb cube. So what do you get here? K1 by K2, which is Ca into Cb power minus 2. Now you are stuck here. This suggests, let's say, CSTR. This suggests, let's say, PFR. With respect to, suppose if I select PFR, so what is selectivity of C is K1 by K2, Ca power minus 1, Cb power minus 2. So what we need is high concentration of A, low concentration of B. Suppose if we select PFR, then what happens? This gives high concentration of A, plus this also gives high concentration of B only. Suppose if you give CSTR, so low concentration of A plus low concentration of B. So here this is good, here this is good, here this is not good, this is not good. So you are doing a compromise. If you select CSTR or PFR, you are doing a compromise. So how do we solve this problem? This is somebody asking, if you have multiple reactants, how do you do? This is same. So what do you do now? Combination of reactors. Somebody is replying. Tubular reactor, PFR then CSTR. No. So what is your thought process? So now what I will do is I'll take a PFR something like this. I will send concentration of A something like this. Then what I will do is, suppose if I have 100 moles of A, I am sending as it is. Now B I will split something like this. B I will split like this. Suppose if I have 100 B, this is 10 B, this is 10 B, like this. This is 10 B. So on each plane, suppose if I send A, B together, then what happens? Concentration of A is 50, concentration of B is also 50. So if I have here, let's say what is concentration, or let's say mole fraction of A. What is mole fraction of A is, simply let's say what is mole fraction of A is 100 A by 110, which is A plus B, no? What is mole fraction of B? Mole fraction is nothing but concentration, no? Proportional. So NB is 10B divided by 100, 110. So that is how you are maximizing A and you are maximizing B also. This is what is called as PFR with side stream. PFR with side stream. So that this combination gives high CA plus low CB. This is how you solve the problem. So you are operating a PFR, but in a slightly differently. This is, if you visit the hydro treater of any refinery, if you see hydro treater of the refinery is something like this. So you have two beds, and then you have a hydrogen injection in between. Hydrogen injection. So there are two purposes here. Hydro treater, this is diesel hydro treater, kerosene hydro treater, anything if you see. This is hydrogen is injected as side stream. Here hydrogen will do two purposes. One is it improves the kinetics. Another thing is it will act as a cold shot also. Because in the hydro treater, in the first bed, the temperature rises. So that the hydrogen that you will inject in the second point will act as a cold shot. So that it decreases the temperature as well as it will act as a side stream also. So two purposes there. So what I'll explain one more time. Maybe I think you just take some time and understand this one. So I'll explain one more time. Why bed is used? Because it is catalytic reaction. No, hydrotreating is a catalytic reaction. What do you do in hydrotreater is an important gate question. You remove sulfur or materials. What do you do is you have a diesel plus sulfur. So what is the purpose of hydrotreater? You have if you take crude. So crude will have some unwanted materials like sulfur. So after atmospheric distillation column, you will get diesel, but which has some sulfur. So you can't take that directly into vehicles, that one. So that what happens if you take diesel plus sulfur, that sulfur will come out of, let's say, the engines, and then that sulfur will cause the acid rains in the atmosphere. So that is why you have the sulfur norms in each diesel. That is why if you go to, let's say, any petrol bunk, you will see Euro 3 norms, Euro 4 norms. All these norms are called as content of the sulfur. So some let's say if you visit Shell petrol bunks, they will write it as, let's say, ultra pure diesel, high speed diesel. What is meant by high speed diesel is sulfur is extremely low. So how do you remove sulfur in refineries? Hydrotreating. What do you do? Hydrotreating is hydrogen you mix with, let's say, diesel plus sulfur and a catalytic bed which has, let's say, comonomer catalyst, cobalt oxide and manganese oxide. So nickel also. So this is the catalyst. So what does that catalyst do is that sulfur will get stick to the hydrogen, so that the hydrogen sulfur will come out as H2S. So the pure diesel will come out as it is. That H2S will be sent to acid recovery plant and sulfur will be recovered and thrown back. Hydrogen is recovered, let's say, recycled back to the system. That is how. So that is how the refinery, but even if you don't understand, still fine, but that is how where you find this kind of concept in the refineries. So the big advantage of online classes is if you don't understand this a particular point, you have that video available. Maybe later on you can go to that particular, let's say, minute. So in the class notes, what you do is, if you don't understand that particular point, write that time in the of the video, so that when you go back, let's say next time, you particularly pass that video there and then here again. That is one advantage in online classes, but there are some disadvantages, like interaction is not good. So packed wise is a PFR, no, because there is no mixing. There is less mixing. CRE1, after CRE, I'll take MEB, material and energy balance. So that non-technical questions we'll do it later on. Do not ask me all these questions in between the classes. So clear. So if everybody is clear, then I'll explain this concept again. So based on the selectivity of B, I need concentration of A, high concentration of A, low concentration of B. So if I select a PFR, I get high concentration of A and high concentration of B. So I'm good with respect to A, but I'm not good with respect to B. So if I select CSTR, I'm good with respect to B and I'm not good with respect to A. So by simply selecting CSTR PFR, you are not getting the optimum. So that is where you have taken a CSTR, you have injected a bulk stream. Let's take that 100 moles of A, 100 moles of B. If I inject both together, what is mole fraction of A is 50%, what is mole fraction of B is 50%. So instead of that one, you take 100 moles of A and inject B as side stream. So the 100 mole fraction of A is almost 90%, mole fraction of B is almost 10%. So you are getting high concentration of A, low concentration of B also. Clear? Suppose if you want to operate, let's say CSTR, this one, how do you do? How do you operate CSTRs? If you give me PFR, I'll operate like this. But PFR is nothing but a series of CSTRs. So I'll take series of CSTRs and I'll inject A as bulk stream, A as bulk stream, and I'll take B, let's say, inject in pulses. This is how you operate the CSTR, so that you maintain high concentration of A, low concentration of B. Mole fraction is nothing but proportional. What is concentration of A? PA by RT. If it is gas phase, let's assume. What is PA? Total pressure into mole fraction, or let's say mole fraction of A by RT. No? So in a way, concentration is proportional to your mole fractions. So in this two, if you compare, PFR is economical because in a single reactor you do. CSTRs, because if I operate, I need multiple CSTRs. So and then you need piping connection. So piping connections here, piping connections here, piping. But how do you operate a CSTR is what I'm saying. If I have, let's say, multiple CSTRs in my plant already available, I can do like that. Do not take screenshots. I am getting, let's say, some of the phone messages in screenshots because somebody is not writing notes and taking screenshots will not help you, because when later on when you are preparing for the GATE exam, it is extremely difficult. Suppose if I want to do a batch reactor, how do you do? So if I want to do a batch reactor, so how do you do batch reactor? Batch reactor, how do you do? So what do you do is, you take big amount of, let's say, A, and you drop wise pour B, so that concentration of A is high. This is where semi-batch reactor. So if you visit Reddy's lab, you will find this kind of, let's say, reactors. So you will load the with reactant A, one of the reactants, and slowly drop wise you will add another reactant B. So this is how Ca is high and Cb is low maintained in batch reactor. This is what is called a semi-batch reactor. So a batch system, this is how you operate. So in batch reactor, what do you do is, you put, let's say, load of A here, so that you add concentration of B in small drops, so that concentration of A is high maintained, concentration of B is low maintained. Yes, you have continuous mixing in batch reactor, no? So done the contacting patterns. Somebody is asking to show the selectivity page. So write at one time all the points. Do not take screenshots. Okay. So with this one, basically CRE is completed. CRE1 is completed. Theoretical part mostly one concept which is there is recycle reactor. As I told you, I'll discuss that as a part of, let's say, chapter 4, or I can discuss now also. So chapter CRE. So what did we do as a summary? We will see, and then we will solve some problems on CRE1. So what did we do in CRE1 is, so we have, let's say, chapter 1. So we did, let's say, kinetics. How to find the kinetics? Let's say K and N, how to find. So each chapter you should have a clear summary. How do you find K? You have loss. How do you find N? Integral, all this. Chapter 2, sorry, ideal reactors. Ideal reactors. How do you select a reactor? Let's say A gives P, A, or let's say this is only simple A gives P. You have CSTR or PFR. If it is a positive order reaction, you will select a CSTR. If it is a negative order reaction, you will select a CSTR. If it is positive order, you will select a PFR. Chapter 3, series parallel reactions. So what did we study here is, if you have a reaction something like A gives P, A gives C, A gives B gives C, how do you select a reactor, or how do you select a CSTR and PFR? So this is what is, let's say, we have done. So till now, series parallel reactions, how do you select the reactor and all? Clear? So I'll demonstrate, let's say somebody is asking in, let's say, so we'll solve problems now. So I'll demonstrate one case, which is how this, let's say, industrial operations, that is, let's say, ethylene gives, let's say, benzene. Clear? So this is one of the reactions. As I told you, so the reactor that you are going to produce should be, the reactor that is going to produce should be operated like as a CSTR. Let's assume that for ethylene, it should behave like a PFR. For, let's say, benzene, it should behave like a CSTR. Clear? So let's, for example, I'm saying, so for PFR with, let's say, low temperature, and CSTR with, let's say, low temperature, and this is, let's say, high temperature. So how do you construct a reactor, something like this? Because see, here you can't say which one is desired product, here you can't say which one is undesired product. So if you see some of the, let's say, Reliance crackers, you will find this kind of things. Okay. So this is what is feed coming in. what is, let's say, product goes out. So what you do is you take this product and then you will introduce a concept of recycle here. So we'll have this valve open. So when you open this valve, it behaves like a close to CSTR. When you close this valve, it will behave like a PFR. Now that is how the operation is. Now how do you operate the temperature controller is, you have one TAC, which is one TAC which is sitting, you have a T set point, you have another TAC sitting here, TAC, you have another set point. These two set points are connected to a master controller here. So this master controller will operate this valve also. So you have the, what you call this is a cascade controller. So you have the measurement accordingly. So you have the, let's say, operating principle also. This is, let's say, temperature measurement. So this is temperature measurement. This is also temperature measurement, and then corrective action. So you have, let's say, coil something like this. You have coils something like this, coil something like this, correct, coil something like this. So how does this, let's say, this reactor works? If I want to operate, let's say, here you have two options, PFR and CSTR, high temperature, let's say low temperature. When I press here high temperature, what happens is, this will receive a set point of 400 degrees. This will also receive a set point of 400 degrees. Accordingly, both the beds are maintained at, let's say, 400 degrees. If I set low temperature, then this will be maintained, let's say, 200 degrees. Then this will be maintained at 200 degrees, so that both these TICs, this is TIC1, this is TIC2. So this is T set point 1, this is T set point 2. So both these two control loops are controlled by a master controller. This is what is called as cascade controller. Control inside a control, which is called as cascade controller. So if you, this master controller will tell you which product that you are producing. Suppose if you are operating, suppose if you are a PFR with high temperature, that means this wall should go to 100% close, and you should, these two TACs should get a receive a set point of 400 400. So this is simple C code. If you receive an input of, all the control logics is nothing but a simple C code or C++ code or a Fortran code. So what do you do in this master controller? If my input is, let's say, ethylene, so you have two buttons only, ethylene and benzene. If my input is ethylene, then what this master controller will have a programming is, close this valve 100%, give a set point of 400 here and 400 here. So if my input is ethylene, close this valve and give a set point of 400 and 400, so that this valve will be closed. Both of them will receive a set point of 400 400. So both the beds will be maintained at 400 degrees. Suppose if my input is benzene, then this valve will be opened, let's say, 100%. These two set points will receive 200 and 200 degrees centigrade. So this is not exactly what is, let's say, industry, but I am trying to tell an industry balance between industry and academic class, so that you will understood whatever you have, let's say, practiced in the class. Because in industry, what happens is, this electrical heating is not possible for the big reactors, so you have a steam heating. So all these stories will be slightly different, but this is how you can envisage designing of a reactor for a parallel reaction. Clear? So one more time. So if you are pressing ethylene mode, then this, you want to operate this as a PFR with high temperature. So this valve will go to 100% close. Both the set points will be 400. If I want to operate this as a benzene mode, this valve will go to 100% and both the set points will be, let's say, 200. Just spend some time and understand that one. TAC1 and TAC2 are the slave controllers here. So we'll solve some problems. So an isothermal steady state mixed flow CSTR is operated as shown below. So you have a recycle 1 mole per meter cube, 0.5 meter cube per, let's say this is second, minute, doesn't matter. This is minute. What goes out is Q, 0.5 meter cube per minute. CAF is 0.5 mole per meter. This is flow rate is R into Q. The question is, when R is 0.5, the conversion is 50%. When R is 0.5, when recycle ratio is 0.5, the conversion is 50%. If R is equal to 2, what will happen to your conversion? So I'll take, let's say, 2 minutes time and then try to solve this question. So Ca not equal to 1 mole per meter cube, Q not equal to 0.5 meter cube per minute, Q equal to 0.5 meter cube per minute, CAF equal to 0.5 mole per meter cube. So recycle is R cube. So when R is 0.5, conversion is 50%. When R is 2, what is the conversion? Is the question. Is the answer? Same conversion, no effect. Same, it doesn't change. 50%. Why? What are you doing? Recycle. What is the concentration here inside? The concentration here is CAF. Here CAF. What is the concentration inside CAF? No. So you are mixing. You are taking CAF and mixing it with CF. So do you have any benefit on, let's say, concentration? Any change in the concentration? No. There is no change in the concentration. Then is there any effect on, let's say, rate? So otherwise what I will do is I will do a simple derivation of take a CSTR. What is CA naught, FA naught? What goes out is CAF, FA1. So this is V naught. This is also V naught. I'm recycling back, let's say, R into V naught back to the system. A concentration CAF, CF. Let's derive the equation. So what is performance equation? Let's derive what is performance equation. A into the reactor is equal to A out of the reactor plus A, which is reaction. What is A into the reactor? A is going into the reactor in two sources. One is this source, another one is this source. This is 1 and this is, let's say, 2. So what is A into the reactor is FA naught plus what is A at 2? R into V naught is your volumetric flow rate into the concentration, which is CF. This becomes your moles of A. Volumetric flow rate multiplied by concentration. So this is, let's say, moles, or let's say this is liters per minute. This is moles per liter. So this much amount of A is going along with, let's say, here. Now what comes out? What comes out is FA1. So what comes out is two parts. This is 1 prime. This is, let's say, 2 prime. This is how the exit. So what is exit is 1 prime plus what is the flow rate here? RV naught into CF. Moles remain same, no? Plus minus RAF into volume of the reactor. So this and this will cancel. Do you see any effect on the performance equation because of the recycle? So the performance equation, if you derive, it will remain as same. V by FA naught is equal to XA by minus RA. So recycle has no effect on your answer. Recycle has no meaning in CSTR. Why it is technically, this is derivation wise. Technically also, if you see, you are taking concentration of CAF and let's assume that you are mixing inside or with this stream, doesn't matter, no? You are taking CAF and mixing it with CF also, no? So that is why recycle has no meaning. Whether I connect here or connect here doesn't matter, both are same. Because both are going inside the reactor, you know. Just understand this one. Flow rate varies also, doesn't matter, no? Whether R can be anything, so that will cancel on both sides, no? Basically you are not in your performance equation you are not finding any R, so that means R has no meaning here. So there is only one outlet, but I am writing balance here. For the CSTR I am writing the balance. So for what is this stream is combined stream. What is A here plus what is A here plus what is A here plus what is A here. When you are writing the balance over the CSTR, you are writing the balance, no? So that is what basically CSTR itself is a completely mixed reactor. If you take out something and if you are going to mix, then you are doing nothing. So this is a gate question. If you try to solve this question, that means you are unnecessary wasting time. So if you are perfectly understood the concept by looking at this one, recycle, whether it is 2, 3, 4, 5, doesn't matter, whatever it may be, your answer will be 50% only, because your performance equation, when you try to do it, it is not depending upon your, so you are not finding any recycle in your answer, no. Suppose if you do recycle for a PFR, does it have any sense, or is it something like this? Recycle PFR. So recycle PFR. So if you take PFR something like this, so I am doing, let's say, recycle CA naught, FA naught, V naught, CAF, FA1, VF. What it comes here is R plus 1 into VF. R into VF is going this side. So here, imagine here, what is the concentration here? CA naught. So if because of the recycle, what is happening? Because of the recycle, the concentration on the first plane is changing, no? The concentration of the first plane is changing. So you are taking a concentration of CAF, which is low concentration, and externally you are trying to create a back mixing. What is recycle in PFR? So recycle creates back mixing. Recycle creates back mixing. So if recycle increases, back mixing increases. Suppose if recycle tends to infinity, then it becomes a CSTR. So when recycle is equal to 0, it is a PFR. When recycle is infinity, it becomes a CSTR. So what is the objective of recycle is, with the recycle reactor, you can get a mixed type of, suppose sometimes we don't need a PFR, we don't need a CSTR. We need in between kind of thing. That is where you will get this performance. So what is the performance equation here is, so what is performance equation for this one? There is small derivation for this one. Whatever the PFR that you have taken here, so you will find what is, so you are recycling here. So this RVF, so you will have some conversion here. you will have some conversion because there is B something which is coming along with A here. So some conversion here, which is CA naught, FA naught and V naught. This is CAF, FA1 and VF. So if you do this derivation, and then derivation is not important. Finally, if you write what is the performance equation that you will get is V by FA naught is equal to R plus 1 into R by R plus 1 into XAF dxa by minus RA. This is what is your recycle reactor. This is what is your recycle reactor. How do you get this R by R plus 1 into XAF is, what is the conversion here with RVF? So you know what is the concentration, which is CAF, and you know what is CBF. Take that CBF and find the conversion, that is small derivation. Derivation is not important, but here important thing is when R is equal to 0, it is a PFR. When R is equal to infinity, it behaves like a CSTR. Write this equation. So this is a small derivation is there. You will write from conversion what is, this is R by R plus 1 into XAF, and from this one you will apply the payoff equation. So I have not done that derivation because gate point of view, this derivation is not important. This doesn't explain any concept here. Next problem. Following elementary liquid phase reactions are taking place in a CSTR. A gives C, K and K. A gives T, K prime. This is R. RB is KCA minus KCB. RR is K prime C. Find the space time at which CV is maximum in the CSTR. You need to find the space time at which. This is what is the problem that we have solved last. So why I have given this question is you need to understand that no need to remember that equation, but the questions in the gate will be, it follows the same concept. How do you write tau with respect to A, then write tau with respect to B, then this is series parallel reactions. You need to find the space time at which the CB is maximum. 1 by root of k into k plus k prime. So what is tau equal to Ca minus Ca divided by what is rate of A? K plus k prime into Ca. So what do you get? Ca by Ca naught as 1 by 1 plus k prime into tau. What is tau with respect to B? Cb minus Cb naught divided by Cb minus Cb naught divided by Kca minus Kcb. What is Cb naught is 0. What is Cb by Ca? K tau by 1 plus k tau. Now if you multiply these two here, then what do you get? Cb by Ca naught is k tau by 1 plus k tau 1 plus k prime into tau. If you look at this equation, this is something like this. K1 tau divided by 1 plus k1 tau 1 plus k2 tau. So if you do differentiation, what do you got there? 1 by root k1 k2. No? Similarly, 1 by root of k into k plus k prime. Because this is something like this, no? K1 into tau 1 plus k1 tau 1 plus k2 tau. No? So similarly, if you do the derivation also, you will get 1 by root k1 k2. Clear? I think we'll stop the class here because it is almost 8 o'clock. So we'll open for doubts. Any doubts you have? Reversible reactions, we will have another session. We will have a separate session for reversible reactions. Contacting patterns means how do you contact the reactants to get best out of the best out is what is contacting patterns. Optimal. Sometimes you need to send A as bulk, B as coding skills are required in chemical industry because if you are working in some of the, let's say, R&D companies on modeling side, so otherwise you don't need require much coding skills. Somebody is asking why we have not considered parallel reaction. For what? Parallel reactions is considered, no? That is where you have written. It is a series parallel reaction. That is how you have written the rate of A. No? What is rate of A? Is rate of B formation plus rate of R formation. Both are considered. Yes, class is over. CRE1 is over means over, but we have some problems. I will solve some problems. Autocatalytic problems, there is no mathematical problems as such given in the GATE exam. So there are some interesting problems on CRE1. That is we need to solve, then we'll solve CRE2. just the basics, and much depends upon. There are some required in R&D sector where you need, let's say, extensive. Right now, with data science coming into picture, your coding skills is also required if you are going in the fields. So it depends upon the company, so we can't say. So any doubts, other doubts? Derivations you will not ask most. Kinetics of enzyme reactions will be there, but this is, I think, the last part will compare. I'm not getting any doubts, so I think I'll close the session.